Ladies and gentlemen, today is May 16th, 2013, and the sound is on! It is on! And today is Thoughtful Thursday. I am your host, Kienan Lafferty. Today we are going to be talking about some lovely things. We're going to be sitting beneath the bonsai tree. I'm going to give you a nice camera angle of the outside world, a place that I never dare to venture very much unless it is to obtain food or other items that I need for survival. But today we are going to be talking about some amazing things that have been going through my tiny little brain that is revealing to me more about my presence, my purpose in life, and what it means to be a comic book artist and an artist in general. Alright, so let's go ahead and begin today. I want to first say thank you to everyone who has been watching the show, and for those of you special people out there who have been donating to the cause of Emma, not just with hard-earned cash, but actually there have been some amazing people that have been stepping up and just asking to contribute their special talent or whatever for free. So those people are also featured here on this month's thank you picture. If you'd like to get your name on here, simply all you have to do is donate to the cause on the Emma Comic Online website, or just do something really, really awesome for me for free. Some awesome people on there. And we got some good things coming up. I just recently came back from Five Guys. I went out to lunch with my little brother, and that was why the stream is actually starting late today. So I do apologize for that, but thank you guys for understanding. I had some things to take care of. He was on a journey to obtain a multi-tap for the old PS2. He's playing a game called Amplitude with his friends. I don't know if any of you guys actually played that game, but it's basically like, it's kind of like, it's sort of like a Dance Dance Revolution type of game, except you have this little ship, and then you have to hit the notes with the triggers on the keyboard, or I mean, not the keyboard, the joystick. What do you call it? The controller, right? And you're piloting this little ship, and I think they've made a bunch of games like that where you basically hit the little notes by hitting the buttons at the right time. And it's pretty cool. And that game is apparently 4 players, and he had to go out and find a retro multi-tap for a PS2. So that's where we were, and then we wanted to grab something on the way back. But now we are back, and it is time to meditate upon the subject of today, which is doing things for yourself. Today we're going to be talking about doing things for yourself and why that is such an important mentality to have, and why it's actually very easy to get sucked out of it, right? By the outside world, by your subconscious. It is a very, very natural thing to be wanting to please everyone else, right? To belong somewhere, to belong to a certain group of people, or to obtain approval of a group of people. They must like you, obviously, right? So it's very, very natural to say, oh, well, what is going to make this group of people like me? And then you do that, right? But anyway, okay, so let's get started with this. And I kind of want to start with a story. And this story is basically my life over the last couple weeks, and why I've realized that this is such an important thing for me to talk about today. So over the last couple weeks, I have been I kind of go in through a little, little moody area, kind of like brooding, dark artist, kind of wondering if what I'm doing is the right thing. Is quitting my job and making a comic the right thing to do? Is believing my dreams the right thing to do? All these people that wanted me to succeed and they're counting on me and all this stuff, am I going to let them down? And all these things are going through my head, right? And then I realized, well, let me continue with that. With that mindset, I was naturally starting to kind of delve into this dark and scary area, this shadow, this valley, right? I was delving into this valley, and this is the valley of thinking way too much about what other people think about what you're doing, caring way too much about if you're letting people down or not, or people believing in you and you want to look good for others, right? This is a dangerous, dark, scary valley with thorns that poke you in the sides, and they slowly get closer and closer until you have nowhere to move, and then they stick you in the clothes, and then they have little hooks so you can't get out, and then you stick there for the rest of your life, and then you slowly rot away, and then you become part of the dirt and create more brambles, right? Create more brambles to catch more people that go into that valley. And I want to urge you not to go into there. Don't go in there. Stay above it. Stay in the grassy hilltops where the beautiful sunshine is, and the daffodils and all the flowers and the nice breeze blowing against your hair and your skin. Gotta love that. You can have a little picnic up there. You know, there's all kinds of cool things you can do. And there's plenty of other people up there too. But I want to talk about why that is so important that you don't get sucked into this whole feeling of, oh man, what about all these people that believed in me? Oh, what about all these people that are watching me, what I'm doing? Am I really doing the right thing? You know, is this going to make me look good in the end? Is this going to, is this really the right thing? And this is basically me. This is basically me over the last couple weeks. I was slowly kind of delving into this valley, and I was starting to become a little bit like anxious, maybe a little depressed, starting to, and when you become depressed, you start to become a little bit self-doubtful, right? You start wondering like, ooh, is this the right thing to do? I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if I'm doing this right. What if it fails? What if all those people that said I couldn't do it, what if they were right? You know what I mean? And that's a very common thing to do. It's a very easy thing to do because, like I said, it's very natural. It's a natural place to go. But I then realized the importance of, the reason why I started this. And this is why I say all the time, when I made this business, when I started this business and when I decided to make the comic, right? And it's funny that I even call it a business because I almost think that I shouldn't necessarily call it a business quite yet. I mean, it's a business in the fact that, I can actually make some money off of it. I have product and I'm sending it out and it's like, oh, hey, yeah, this is my business that I'm producing this comic through. But I think first and foremost, the most important thing to realize is that I started this to make a comic, not to make a business, not to make money. And even though, I mean, it's going to help, making money is going to help, I can't judge my success off of how much money this business is going to make. You know what I mean? Because as much as I would love to have this completely funded and be like, hey, there's like some way for me to have subscriptions and there's like 50,000 people that are giving me $1 a month, which would be cool and maybe a cool, that's a cool plan to have, right? That would be cool to have like some sort of subscription where thousands of people send me $1 a month. Wouldn't that be awesome? And as much as I'd like to do that, that's not why I started this. I didn't start this to make a business to get the money, right? I started this to make a comic. And then going back to what I was saying, man, I'm sidetracking so much. I gotta get better at the storytelling thing. But that's why I'm doing it right now. That's what I'm doing right now. So I'm practicing for the day I will give these conferences to millions across the internets or whatever. So, yeah, but I just had to remind myself that the reason why I started this was for me, right? I wanted to make this comic because I wanted to read it. I'm making this comic for myself. And even though I love all of you out there, I love each and every one of you that have been watching this show, you're definitely going to help make it happen, right? Like if this thing becomes big, or if it turns into some cartoon show on Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon or wherever, or like some YouTube channel wants to pick it up, I don't know. But if this thing ends up going big, that will be because of you. But my success is not dependent on that. I'm not making this comic for what everybody else is going to think of it, right? I'm not making it because of what everybody else wants it to be. I'm making it because this is my story that I want to tell. This is what I would like to see. And this is what I want to read in the final hours of my waking life before I die, right? I want to be reading my comics on my deathbed, basically, being like, I did it. I did it. Instead of, oh man, sitting on my deathbed being like, oh man, I never got to make that comic. I never did. I never did. I still had a pretty good life, but I never made that comic. I never took the jump. I never took the chance when I had it, right? And I don't want that to happen. So once I realized that, once I realized, hey, instead of like worrying about how the business is going to work and worrying about how I'm going to get all this money, instead, really all I have to focus on is what's going to make me happy. What do I want to see in this comic? What do I want to see from, if I was like a fan of this comic, which I am, I'm a fan of my own comic, as I should be, what would I like to see? I would like to see posters. I would like to see figurines. I would like to see stickers and buttons and vinyls and hats and t-shirts, all this stuff. And I'm making that because that's what I want to see. I'm making that not because, oh, hey, I bet if I made this and this and this, I can make a lot of money off people, right? And even though that is a tempting thing to say, right? It's a very tempting thing to say. It's like, oh, well, hey, if I make this, I can make a lot of money. And I still think that's good, obviously, when you're starting a business. But that needs to take a second seat to the comic, right? The comic comes first. The business backs the comic, helps it happen more. But to be honest, I'm okay with the cadence of the release schedule. I release 10 pages at a time. It takes me sometimes a month or over a month to release 10 pages. But you know what? That's okay with me. That is okay with me. I'm willing to wait that long. If you guys are willing to wait that long, that's cool too. I'm sure you'll be around in a month to see the next part that comes out. You know what I mean? And I'm planning on having it get faster, but I don't want to do it with the sacrifice of saying, because this is one of the things I was worrying about, right? I was actually worrying about, oh man, this comic doesn't come out fast enough. People are going to get bored and just go away, right? They're going to be like, oh, well, yeah, he releases in like 10 pages, but that's way too long. It's just way too boring, and then just going to leave. But you know what? I don't care, because, the people that do that, the people that get bored and just go and take off, or they get ticked off for some reason that it takes me a month or over a month to release 10 pages, then that's okay. That's not really my target audience. That's not the people that I'm really interested in telling my story to. I'm interested in the people that know why I'm doing this. They understand what my vision is. They understand my dream, and they understand why I want to make the comic, right? And then those people that want to watch it happen, whether it's just on the KNKL show like this, or maybe just people like the tutorial, or people believe in it and they want to help it grow, right? Working for free, sweat equity, that's what they call it. Putting your sweat and tears in it, blood, sweat, and tears, and then later it comes back, because karma and all that stuff. All that good stuff comes back to you, and I really believe that. And it's just really awesome it's always really humbling when someone approaches me and says, hey, I couldn't help but notice, this thing about your website. Or, hey, a lot of people would really, really enjoy having like a forum, right? And then they'll tell me, well, I know exactly how we could get a forum on your thing. I know exactly how I could improve your website. I could help you out with making the comic. I want to help you. Please train me. I'll work for you as an intern. I'll do it for free. I just want to see this thing grow. And it's always just very, very humbling to me that people are willing to step up like that. And that's really, really awesome. And I'm hoping that the value that they get out of that is, whether, because if this thing goes big when it does, they could be like, yeah, I did website design for Emma the Online Comic. And then they'll go and look at that and be like, whoa, this comic's awesome, right? Or whatever they would say. Right? They'd be like, oh man, this comic's awesome. When's the next update? What? A month? Ah, screw it. But, yeah, I think I'm underestimating the value that I can give right now, too. Just because I can't hire people for money and give them salaries and start a giant business just yet, doesn't mean that I don't have value to give by way of experience and tutorials and teaching and, yeah, possible reference, obviously. So I'm really, really happy that people step up and do that kind of thing, and it's very, very humbling. And I want to be able to actually employ people in the future, but for right now, it's just that's not the part of the game that we're in yet. Right now, it's just starting the thing, making the product, and then we're taking the next step after that. So yeah, I hope that you guys kind of take that to heart and kind of relate it to say the path that you're taking in your life. Whether it's, hey, I want to work professionally as an artist. I want to work for this big company. I want to work for Riot Games. I want to work for Blizzard Entertainment. Make sure that you're really doing that for yourself, right? Make sure you're really, really doing that because that's what you want to do. And I think really when you're an artist, there's not many people you go up to and say, oh, I'm an artist, and they'll be like, oh man, that's so amazing. Like, you must make so much money doing that, because artists are like looked up to as like these amazing people that just make a lot of money, and they're better than doctors and lawyers and all that stuff. A lot of people don't associate artists with like these greatly like monetarily successful people, right? So basically, if you're on the path of an artist, you're already taking a little bit of faith in yourself, and it's a path that not a lot of people walk, because and here's the reason why. I want to make sure that you understand this, for the negative connotation that comes along with it. It's because so many people do it and they give up, they fail, or yeah, they like the inevitable challenges come up and they give up and they fail. I honestly think that making it as an artist is very, very challenging. Not that being a lawyer or a doctor isn't, but I think that as far as, I think the biggest thing that kind of makes art a tough field to get into is that it's subjective, right? Anybody can look at a great doctor and be like, yes, that is a great doctor because of his practices and this, or this lawyer is great because he does this and this and this. But an artist who does work that is great to somebody may be completely subjectively not good to another person. You know, somebody who thinks something is completely awful and stupid may like be regarded as like the tip top, you know, tier of art to somebody else. And I think that's another reason why it's so tough to make it as an artist, is because it's almost more about getting people to see your stuff. You find that target audience, and there always is a target audience. No matter what kind of art that you like to do, there's always the target audience out there for you to find. But the challenge is finding it. That's when they say exposure is the artist's best friend, because it puts you in front of as many eyes as possible, basically. As I stumble over my words. Puts you in front of as many eyes as possible, and then the people that like your stuff will follow you, they'll be interested in you, and they'll find out about you. But a lot of artists don't understand that, right? They think that if they're a lot like me with my first business, they thought that if they just make some t-shirts and they make a website, man, the internet is just going to come pouring in and be like, where's this stuff been all our life? Thank you, Keenan. Thank you for making these awesome clothes. But if nobody knows who you are, nobody knows what your business is about or what it represents or any of that, nobody's going to find you. Nobody's going to come find you. You're not going to be able to start a business, right? I think that's one of the reasons why Emma is even, I mean, I took a poll like a few months ago saying, how did you guys even find out about me? How do you know who I am, right? And the reason like 99% of you said it was because of Riot Games and because of the Champion Art Spotlights, where, you know, they got millions of views and they have my name just like stuck right there on the description. Since then, they've stopped doing that, which is something that I was actually really bothered about. I like the fact that Riot really like to put their artists in the spotlight and be like, yes, this is the artist who made this amazing splash piece. Katie DeSouza, Andrew Silva, Keenan Lafferty, Wesley Kyle, right? But then, since then, they've stopped doing that. I don't know if you noticed that. But, and I'm not sure why they stopped doing that. I don't know if it was like more of a professional thing, or I don't know why they stopped doing that. But it kind of bothered me. But to be honest, I actually kind of think I got the good end of the deal, because a lot of companies don't do that. A lot of companies, you know, any concept artist that works for a company, most of the time you get the little concept book that comes with the special edition of the game, and then their name isn't on the drawing, but it's in the back of the book, and be like, oh, who made this? Oh, okay, this guy. Or if you know their style, you can kind of pick them out. But Riot did a really, really cool thing where they actually took that name of just the splash artist. Like, you know, like, it doesn't say anything about the guy that actually concepted the champion or like made the game model or did all the animations and the spell effects that went into the game. They don't say their name in there. All they say is the name of the guy that did the splash art, right? So I think that I kind of got the good end of the deal. Even though we're the person who's just at the end, and it's like, oh, hey, here's this champion. Put him in a cool pose that will make people want to buy it, right? Make people want to buy it and get excited about it. And although I mean, there's still some good responsibility and skill involved in doing that. I just think it's funny how there's so much work that goes into a champion before it comes to the final splash art, and then we just kind of do it, and then we're the one that gets our name plastered on the million-hit video that goes on YouTube. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can't say it was wrong that they took it off, but I definitely enjoyed it while it was there, and that's probably a big reason why a lot of you are watching me right now. So, yeah, I mean, I think that exposure is always a good thing. And I want to make sure that I'm not being overly negative about, you know, being an artist is tough and like you shouldn't even try, because that's what some people have said in interviews. Like, they'll be interviewing the actual artist and they'll be like, what kind of advice can you give to like the young people that want to get into the industry and work in video games? And then they'll have like some stupid answer like, don't bother. Like, who? It's a good thing I don't remember who said that, because I would find them. I would find them and I would slap them across the face. I would do more than that, but ooh, no, you don't say that to people. You don't tell people to not even start. You don't discourage people. Don't do that. That really, really pisses me off, right? So, but yeah, it's like, what a terrible thing to say. I really think that, yeah, becoming an artist is tough. Starting a business is tough, but most things in life that are worth their salt are, right? A lot of the best things in life. You know, can you tell me something that you really treasure, you know, in your life today that you didn't have to make some significant sacrifice for, or that you had to work hard for? It's just the value comes from the amount of effort that you put in to receive it, right? Or the sacrifices that you had to make to receive it, okay? That's why the comic means so much to me. That's why the comic has such, like, value to me because of the thought of just taking that secure job, right? That job that everybody wants, right? The job that I wanted my entire life. Getting into it, loving it for a year and a half, and I'm still doing it, right? I'm still working on contract. But the reason why I decided to take off from full time was because I just wanted the time. I wanted my time back. I wanted to be able to choose when I worked, and I wanted to choose what style I worked in, right? I wanted to be free and creative, and I needed that on such a great level that I decided to sacrifice my stable job to start the comic and then just work on contract and make money when I need to. And it's been really awesome. I think it was probably one of the best decisions, and it's probably one of the best decisions that I've ever made in my life, because every day I wake up, it's still challenging, right? Because you're managing yourself now. You really are. You're basically at the wheel of the giant pirate ship of your life, right? Sailing to uncharted lands, and there's nobody telling you what to do. There's, you're finding your crew. Like, basically, you stop on these islands and you like find some people and be like, hey, you want to come with me? And some people will jump on, some people won't. Some people will chuck rocks and torches at your ship, try to burn you down. And then you take off and you go find another island and you pick up some more people. And yeah, it's really, really awesome. It's really an adventure, and I think that's really what life is supposed to be about, right? I really think that that's what life is all about. There's a good man named Jim Rohn. He said, don't ask for security in your life, ask for adventure. And I really, really thought that really, really hit home for me, right? Because I believe that, like, within me. It was there before he even said it. And that just kind of brought it to the surface. Like, yes, that's what life is supposed to be about. It's not supposed to be about, oh, everything's just all lined, got all your ducks in the row. You know exactly what's going to happen every single day for the rest of your life. I think it's good to set up a financial, like a financial foundation, right? You should definitely have the means to be safe, and you should have security in that regard, especially if you have a family and kids. I understand that. But just this whole thing of feeling like doing the same thing every day, working at a job that you hate, getting paid just enough that you don't quit, just because you feel that's all you deserve, is not what life is supposed to be about. Life is supposed to be about taking that chance. It's supposed to be about taking the risk, sacrificing, and making it, right? Making it to the top and enjoying the journey along the way. And I've said this stuff before, so I hope that you guys are absorbing it. All right. So yeah, just to sum that all up, I just wanted to say, wait, how long have we been going? We've been going for 30 minutes? Nice! Nice. Actually, no, kind of started with no sound, so I had to start over again. So, anyway, let's see, what am I talking about here? Oh yeah, so summing all of that up, I'm talking about doing things for yourself. When in doubt, ask yourself, is this really what I want to do? What is going to make me happy, right? What is going to make me happy? And do that thing. Don't do what you think this other guy over here wants you to do, because in all honesty, that guy probably doesn't give a crap about what you do. You might think that he does, but in the end, it really is all about you. It's all about what you think about your life. It's all about how you view yourself, right? Your self-esteem. That's something that money can never, ever buy, right? It has to come from within. And the only way to nurture that and grow that is by doing the things that you believe in, following your dreams, and believing that you can, having faith in yourself. And then whenever you naturally go into that valley, you pull yourself back out, because you remembered, the reason I started this was for me. And then you go right back up into the sunny hillsides and have a picnic. All right. Moving on to another thing that will kind of help keep you out of this valley, right? This shadowy valley with the briar thorns and the weeds and all the scary things, man-eating plants, is I really believe that keeping on top of things is probably one of the biggest things that will keep you out of this weird little rut that you get into sometimes. There's just days where you wake up and it's like, man, I don't even know what's wrong, but I just feel like something's wrong. I don't know what's bothering me, but I just feel kind of down, right? I kind of feel down all the time. This whole week has just been kind of a wash, but I can't figure out why. And the reason why this is, I found out more often than not, is because a bunch of little tiny things that by themselves wouldn't bother you, probably about 10 or 12 of those things have all lined themselves up, and they're sitting in the back of your subconscious mind, right? This could be things like, oh, well, I said I was going to wash my clothes, or I was going to clean I was going to clean my room, or I needed to email this person back, or this person made plans with me. I didn't get back to them about this. Or, let's see, what else? Or I didn't work out this week. All these little tiny things. I need to do dishes, right? Little tiny things stacked up in a row will start to affect you subconsciously. That's why you feel kind of weird, but you can't really pinpoint it. It's because it's like, well, is it because, no, it's not because I didn't wash the dishes. It's so tiny. Why would I be feeling down because I didn't wash the dishes? Well, it's because of this. And you're looking at all these little things and asking yourself if that's the reason, but obviously it's not. It's the combination of all those little tiny things. So when you feel like that, I think the best thing to do, if you don't have a journal, then find a piece of paper where you can write down, okay, well, let's just go through a couple things that I'm trying to figure out, like why I'm feeling down. And seriously, as soon as I did this, because I was feeling down like last week, I was like, man, and this happens before. So I was like, okay, well, last time I got out of this by writing down all the little things that are bothering me. So I was like, okay, well, I haven't been working on the 26-34 rule. I've been like, no, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. And I'm just like, I just go and go and go and go, and my hand starts to hurt, my back starts to hurt. Again, I say this, every time I sacrifice doing the 26-34 rule, which is basically working for 26 minutes, and then resting 34 minutes, not working, not putting the stylus to your pad, or whatever, what have you. Every time I let this rule slide, it ends up biting me in the butt, and I need to stop doing that. And to sum that up, I talk a lot about the 26-34 rule, and I really think this is kind of like a keystone of the way I'm going to live the rest of my life. I really need to get into this. And that is that you can actually accomplish and get more work done if you work for 26 minutes, and then for the remainder of the hour, the 34 minutes, you are actually taking a relaxed state of mind, right? You are taking a super relaxed state of mind. If for any reason you can actually stop working entirely, that is the most ideal situation. I understand some people have jobs out there where you can't just like go, oh, I'm just going to take a break for the next 34 minutes. I'm going to go sit in the back and play video games. In that case, it's more of a mental shift. It's a mental shift of taking yourself out of that job, looking around, looking at the beauty that just surrounds you, right? I could be in a room with just 4 walls, and I could still find beauty in that room. And oftentimes it's not even in your surroundings. It's within you. It's like, you ask yourself, wow, look at all of the actions that have brought me to this point. Look at all the life experience that I've accrued over these 25 years that have put me exactly where I'm sitting right now. And it's really, really cool to think about that kind of stuff. And the reason why I tell people to do this, resting for 34 minutes, is because during that time, when you're not focusing on your work, the solutions to any problems that you had during that 26 minutes will naturally come to you when you're not thinking about it. This happens when you're driving down the road, right? And you get some sort of inspiration, right? You get that idea, that crazy idea. And you say you're going to remember it for later, but then you get home and you totally forgot that you had ever had that problem or ever had that solution or that idea. This happens a lot like back when I was writing music. I would hear music at night, basically right before I was about to go to sleep. I would hear music in my head. Like I'd hear a beat and I'd hear like the entire song like basically done in my head. I'd be like, oh man, that's so cool, right? But I was like, oh, but I'm laying down. I can't write it down. I can't like record it. But now what I do is I just take my phone. There's like a little voice recording thing, and then I'll just record sort of like the beat or whatever, like the da na 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 na, right into my phone, right? And then the next day I'll play it and I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that song now. But creative things, and this is what I'm talking about. I think it's mostly having to do with. Well, actually, it's not actually having to do with just creative things, because the story that it derives from is actually people doing physical labor. People doing physical labor for 26 minutes and then resting for 34 were actually able to do about 4 times the amount of physical labor that they were doing before when they were supposedly working nonstop, and taking like your lunch break. So I think what it does is it just totally just clears your mind. It clears that mind, and then when you get back to work after that 34 minutes, you were just going with such crystal clarity that you were saving so much time and you're getting so much more work done. So anyway, I hadn't been doing that over the last couple weeks, and it was bothering me. It was starting to make my back hurt. I was like, and I asked myself, I was like, my back's hurting, my wrist is hurting, I don't like drawing, I'm not having fun doing this comic, but I'm not doing my exercises, I'm not taking this little racquetball and laying it on the ground and like massaging my back, I'm not doing my stretches, but I can't figure out why I feel bad, And it's like, well, it's obvious, right? I just listed all the problems right there. It's like I'm not doing what I used to do, so of course I'm not feeling as good as I used to. So I had to get back into that. Another thing was my room was a little bit messy. Luckily, you can't. The camera isn't over here, so you can't see all the clothes and stuff on the floor. But my room is a little messy, and I've heard that the quality or the state of your living space or the state of your work area is the state of your mind. So naturally, if you have a dirty work area, your mind is going to be dirty as well. Even if you think it doesn't affect you, it actually does, subconsciously. And yeah, I just wrote down all the tiny little things that are bugging me. Like, oh, I need to email these people back. I need to get back to this person. I need to call this person. I need to make sure that I'm doing this and taking care of like chores or whatever, dishes downstairs, keeping the kitchen clean. Just being respectful to my dad and my stepmom that are letting me stay here while I'm making the comic. So yeah, just like little things like that. And they don't even ask me to do those things. They don't ask me to do chores, but I just want to do it anyway, just out of respect. And yeah, it's just like when you let your standards drop, when you let yourself do less than what you know you're capable of or that you know you should be doing, I think those are the things that mess with the mind more than anything else. When you know you're capable of more and you just let it slide, you just allow yourself to do less than you know you're capable of. I think that does unbelievable amounts of damage to your mind, and that's why you will feel bad during the day for seemingly no reason. I think that's really one of the biggest keys. So if you're ever having one of those days, just write down all the little things. Be like, oh, I didn't play with my dog today. I didn't brush the cat. I didn't sweep the floor. I didn't do this. And then just make a little checklist and go through each of those, right? Check them off when you're done with them. And then after you complete that list of seemingly mundane and stupid tasks, you will actually notice, you're like, whoa, it's like revelation. I feel amazing. I feel like a superhero, right? You feel great again, and then you're ready to get back to work, and you're ready to be inspired again. So, staying on top of things. Use a journal or use a piece of paper. Write down all those little things that are bugging you, and I guarantee you will feel better on those days where you seemingly feel down or depressed for no reason. Okay? All right. Let us see here. Okay, so this kind of goes back to, we're going back into the subject of doing things for yourself. And this next thing that I want to talk about is making sure to take time to do side projects. Do things that are not related to your main passion or your main project because you want to, right? Like constantly I want to like make some fan art for a game, right? But I'm like, oh, I can't do that because it's like, that could have been time I spent making the comic, right? And I just kind of push these things off that I'm inspired to do, or like making music or playing guitar. I push all those things off to the side because I think that I don't have time to do them. And what happens is, much like I said before, when you kind of push things aside that you're inspired to do or that you want to do, you are damaging yourself. You're damaging yourself subconsciously, and you are making yourself depressed, right? So I think it's very, very important to pay attention to, even though you think that you might not have time to do this little side project or this thing, if you're inspired to do it and you really want to do it, you have to act on those feelings. You have to trust your gut. There's a reason why you're having that inspiration, and you need to act on it, right? Because what will happen is that obviously if you do what you want to do, you're going to be happy, right? And you're going to reinforce that, whoa, okay, when I get inspired to do something, I should just do it. I should trust my gut. I should trust in myself. And then you start building the mental attitude of, I trust myself. I do the things that I like to when I'm inspired, and great things happen. Because after I do that, I feel happy. I feel great. And, like I think that only good things can come from when you're inspired to do something. I cannot recall a time where I was inspired to do something and then something absolutely terrible happened. You know what I mean? It's never happened. It never has. However, I can recall many times when I've been inspired to do something, I pushed it to the side, and I was like, no, I don't have time for that, and then consequently, I feel terrible. I feel depressed, and I feel like something's wrong with me. I start feeling caged, right? I start feeling caged into this little project, right? I start feeling caged by Emma in the comic. Not necessarily, I've never gotten to this point, but in some other ways, like other projects I have, it's like I start feeling caged, and I'm just like confined to this little thing. It's like, no, this is all you do, and you don't spend time doing anything else, right? You don't play video games, you don't talk to your friends, you don't do fan art anymore, You don't make music anymore. You don't sing. You don't do any of this stuff. All you do now is the comic, because that is what people want from you. And if you don't give that to them, then they're going to take off, and you're going to be a loser, right? And you're going to fail, and all those people that looked up to you are going to think you're a loser, and then you're going to tell them that don't follow your dreams, don't believe in yourself, and you're going to let all these people down, and then everybody's going to hate you. And then you're going to die, and nobody's going to care. But you see how funny that is? You see how funny that is? It all stems from worrying way too much about what other people are thinking, and not focusing on yourself, not focusing on your own happiness. Because once you do that, I really believe in the statement that you cannot make others happy. You can't inspire others until you're inspired yourself. You can't give happiness or joy to somebody if you have nothing within you. If you have no happiness or joy, you can't give it, right? So I think the most important thing, whether you're doing a project or you're in some sort of a relationship, friendship, whatever, you need to always focus on what is going to make me happy, what's going to bring me joy to the point where I can literally overflow and give it. I can give it away, right? And yeah, I think that's always a really, really cool thing to think about. So yeah, I mean, I've been inspired to do some fan art for a video game that I like that I can't really give away because it might be, it's sort of like a fan art project, you could say, for a video game that I like, but I don't want to disclose that because I'm not sure what's going to happen with that or if it's like NDA, but yeah, there's like this game that I wanted to make fan art for, and the creators of it contacted me to do some stuff for a future release of the game. And normally I would say, oh no, well I really want to, but I don't know if I have time. But you know what? I felt inspired. I was like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for. This is what I want to do. This is going to make me happy. You know, it's going to take a little bit of time away from Emma. It's like the comic is still going to be done. It is going to get done because it just has to be, because I want to see it. It's going to get done at the pace that I want to see it, right? And that's good enough for me. And I'm going to take my time to do the things that I'm inspired to do and create the things that I'm inspired to create. And all of these things are going to mesh into each other, and it is going to actually make the comic even better because I'm going to be operating out of a state of happiness, out of joy, out of giving, and just complete inspiration. You know what I mean? No more of this, oh man, I'm getting caged in and like, oh, I wanted to do this thing, but I couldn't, right? But yeah, I'm sacrificing right now because I'm making the comic for these people, for all these people, so people will like me, right? I want people to like me, so I'm stuck in this cage, right? And hopefully people will like me. And that's just not any way to live your life. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. If I watch this later in the future, Keenan, stop doing that. All right. Whew, man, I'm kind of like losing my voice. All right, peoples. I'm going to go ahead and open up questions to the chat to the right. Question catapults. Please ask your questions, and then we're going to end day 54 of the KNKL stream. Thoughtful Thursday. Yes. Yes. I can't believe my voice is gone. Why is my voice gone? I was actually yelling earlier today because I was talking to my brother in the car, and I was like, you know what I like to do sometimes? I just like to yell, like really loud. I like to scream, right? And I was like, if you want me to take you out to Five Guys, right? If you want me to buy you lunch, you gotta yell. You gotta yell when we were in the car, right? With the windows down. I was like, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? And he's like, really bad. And he yelled so loud. I couldn't believe how loud he yelled. It literally like echoed. Like, you know when people like yell and you can hear the echo come back off the buildings that are next to you, right? He literally yelled that loud. It was so awesome. I was like, whoa, nice. I didn't know he could yell that loud. But needless to say, I did take him out to lunch and I bought him a good burger. Good burger. All right. Okay. Simon is asking a great question. What do you think about people who are of the mentality that art is the only thing left they can do? Huh. I've never actually heard this before. I've never heard somebody say art is the only thing I have left to do. I don't understand exactly what that means. If you could elaborate on that, please do, but I'm going to take what I'm getting from it and kind of run with it. Say this is a person that, this could be a case of someone who wanted to be an artist, right? But they tried to become that lawyer or that doctor or that dentist or that guy that everybody says, ooh, those people make a lot of money. Or their parents push them and be like, oh, you want to be a postal worker like your grandpa, or you want to be a cop and uphold the law, right? and then they try all those things, but they just don't get it. They just don't have the inspiration. They're not good at it, right? So naturally, they're looking to everybody else to tell them what they should be, and then when they inevitably fail at it or they're not into it, they're like, well, I can't be this. I guess I gotta fall back to art because that's the only thing that I have left to do. In that case, that person should have been doing art from the first place, right? He's not thinking of himself. He's not doing what makes him happy. He didn't realize that at the beginning when he said, I like art, I should just do art instead of looking what everybody else tells me to do. I should just do art right now. That way he didn't have to have this terrible mentality of, oh, I tried pleasing everybody else and that didn't work out. I guess I suck at everything. I guess art is all I have left. You know, and now he has that mentality with him for the rest of his life, you know, unless he has some sort of revelation realizing that, whoa, hey, actually, this is great. Like, I love being an artist. And, man, this is so, like, my passion is here and my inspiration. I get so much joy out of this, you know, which will probably is bound to happen. But it kind of goes in, it's like a roller coaster ride. You constantly have to fight to be above. You have to fight to be out of that valley. Because as soon as you stop fighting, as soon as you let those things slide, as soon as you let your standards drop, you stop doing the things that got you there in the first place, you'll start to slide down into that valley. You slide ever so slowly that you won't even notice it. So, yeah. All right. So I hope that summed it up. I asked you to clarify it. You said no with a question mark. So I don't know what that exactly means. Moving on. Oh, there we go. He's saying, Simon's clarifying, saying, I'm thinking this is a person who feels like he can't do anything else. So he just sticks to that. I don't know. That's such an interesting mentality. Because really, you should never feel like you can't do anything else, right? You have like like the human body and the human mind is capable of learning anything. Like, I didn't know anything about guitar. I saw some guy playing a guitar, and I was like, I want to learn how to do that. It's so amazing how he can just move his hands like that, and it's almost like a robot, you know? He just like plays these notes so quickly and like totally what's the word? Like synchronizes it with what's going on over here. And I was like, I want to learn to do that. And when I started, I freaking sucked, right? I was like, I'm never gonna get good at this, but I kept going, and then I noticed it's like my fingers started moving like that guy's that I saw years ago. I was like, I'm doing this without even trying. It's like your muscle memory or whatever, your brain creates the connections to make you do whatever you set your mind to, right? So I don't think anybody should ever feel like, oh, I can't do anything else. I just kind of like to doodle, so I'll just do that, you know? Don't half-ass your way into art, right? You're going to do it. Commit to it, right? Commit to it with your whole heart and your whole soul. Don't half-ass it. Because then I will find you. I'll find you. All right. Let's see here. Let's see here. All righty, people. So I think I'm going to wrap that up. Day 54 of the KNKL show. Thank you guys for tuning in to Thoughtful Thursday. Hope you got some value out of this. My name is Kienan Lafferty. Thumbs up if you like it. Thumbs down if you don't on YouTube. And I think that's about it. I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. You guys take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.